Hello, everyone. It's Mike. I think that I can shed some light on the disaster that has happened across the country for the last 3 weeks. I have a unique perspective in terms of law enforcement because I am one of the few people that has actually been both a police officer for a short time and I've also been a criminal. I have arrested people and I have been arrested. I know both sides of the fence. I'm going to give everybody some food for thought, especially if you're very upset with the way law enforcement is acting and the way people are acting and protesters and Fugazi protesters and criminals that are looting and everybody else. First of all, I don't think people really understand how difficult it is to have a police department where you have 2,000 or 3,000 police officers and expect that every one of them is just a fantastic police officer. The truth is, if you have about 2,000 police officers in a department in any major city, you're going to have about 50 to 100 officers that absolutely positively should have never been given a badge and a gun. They sneak through the cracks. The only way to fix this, the only way to get rid of this social distortion, the only way to get rid of all this racism is if both sides work on what they need to work on. For example, law enforcement. Yes, they do have psychological profiles and stuff like that before they hire somebody, but I'm going to tell you right now, they're not good enough, okay? If I went back in time and I actually got to talk to people that knew this jerk-off monster in Minnesota that put his knee on a guy's neck for over 8.5 minutes and basically just choked him to death, I would find out information. For example, I'm willing to bet that that guy was not very popular in high school. He wasn't an athlete. He wasn't a nerd. He wasn't a great student. He probably wasn't very popular. And I can pretty much guarantee you he probably got picked on a regular basis. That's the kind of guy that probably joins the military or tries to get into law enforcement for the sole purpose of trying to make himself feel better, trying to make himself feel like maybe he has a little power. I am an expert in reading body language from people. I don't know what you saw when you watched that video of that cop in Minnesota and his 3 or 4 moron buddies watching him do it, but do you have any idea how comfortable the guy would have to be to sit there with his knee on his neck with his freaking hands in his pockets? The only way he's that comfortable is if he's done that hundreds of times. There's no way, if that was the first time he ever tried to do that his hands would be in his pockets. We've all heard reports that he had 15 to 20 complaints, mostly by African Americans, for being a jerk off, and this guy's still on the force? Look, you can't just go through departments now and start firing people left and right, although that's probably what would make it go faster. But step one, there's got to be more understanding from both sides. For example, a lot of you are probably upset with the police right now. Let me explain something that you probably don't know. Imagine that you or someone you love joins the police department. And let's say for the first 5 years, that police officer is absolutely perfect. 5 years, no complaints, no problems, no write-ups, no warnings. Everybody in the department thinks that is a phenomenal police officer, right? The people in charge, other officers. This is a clear-cut, wow, that's a great cop. And after 5 years, that police officer says, you know what? I have a family to take care of myself. I'd like to make a little more money. I would like to get promoted. So our hero in this story decides to take the sergeant's exam so he can get a promotion. He takes the sergeant's exam, and he doesn't do well on the sergeant's exam. He scores number 1. Hands down, this guy is getting a promotion to become sergeant. It is that clear cut. Whoa. Nope, it's not. And in fact, in many places, especially large cities, scoring first on that test, having a perfect record for the previous 5 years, the first 5 years of the career, doesn't mean anything. Why? Because they deal with racism also. There's something called the consent decree, which basically means every department has to have a certain amount of men, women, black, white, Asian, straight, gay, whatever. So imagine you're that officer. Perfect record. The perfect person to get promoted to sergeant. You take the test, you're number 1. You don't pass the test, you're number 1. And they look you in the face and go, I'm sorry, we can't promote you. You're a heterosexual white male. Now, if you're thinking, so what? They should promote these other people. Okay, but let's be clear. You're also a racist. That's ridiculous. It should be the best person for the job. Male, female, gray, straight, doesn't matter, right? Doesn't matter. Best people should be in positions, especially authority positions, sergeant, lieutenant, captain, that kind of thing in a police department. Because the last thing you want is one of these jerk-offs that never should have been a police officer anyway, getting promoted because a consent decree said, oh, he's this race, or he's this, or he's that, and we're gonna, it doesn't work, okay? So let's be clear. There's a lot of things law enforcement has to do better. For example, the situation at the Wendy's in Atlanta. There's not a police officer in America that can come up with a legitimate reason for shooting an unarmed suspect while the suspect is running away from you. Let's be clear. That suspect, those 2 cops, they had him for a half hour. You don't think they had his ID? You don't think they knew if he had warrants, his previous arrest record? They knew everything about the guy. If he runs away and you can't catch him on foot, it's not a big deal. 20 minutes later, you're at his house, you're at his girlfriend's house, they're gonna pick him up like it's nothing and put him in jail, and then he's not dead, okay? You can't shoot an unarmed suspect. And let's be honest, if I was running a police department, I would gather up all the officers, especially the white guys, and go, look, here's the deal. If you are in a situation with an African American, use your freaking head. Use your head. Nobody has an excuse for these guys, and I'm not making an excuse, but come on, man, you shot a guy that was high and drunk, and let's be honest, if it's like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning and you're at a Wendy's, there's a 99% chance you're high or drunk, okay? You know that just from them pulling in the parking lot. You gotta use your head. You can't use excessive force. Nowhere in anybody's police academy do they teach you how to kneel on a suspect's neck, ever. It's happening over and over again. So if you are a white, straight male police officer, you gotta use your head. You guys have to work on that. Don't do anything to an African American suspect that you wouldn't do it to treat everybody the same. Treat everybody the same, because what bothers me the most is that, like, this jerk off in Minnesota, I guarantee you he doesn't have any complaints from non-African Americans. Guy's a racist piece of, he's Fugazi from step 1. Fugazi military, Fugazi cop. I can't wait to see what happens to that guy when he actually spends a little time in jail. He's done. It doesn't matter if they give him a 30-day sentence and probation. They're gonna kill him. Good for them. Now, on the other side of the fence, we got to start using our heads. I grew up the exact opposite as just about every African American male in this country, because I grew up the son of a very well-respected police officer. Now, I'm going to tell you what that means. Some of you know a woman that was a preacher's daughter. Let's be real. How do preachers' daughters normally act or respond with that kind of criticism at home about everything? Does the preacher's daughter end up super holier than thou? Or the preacher's daughter, does she get a little buck wild? Like, wow, right? That's fun. I remember those days. And I'm kind of like that. When you're the son of a police officer, you basically think it is impossible for any harm to come to you at all because you're the son of a police officer. I still have that trust today, which means in all the times I have been arrested, there has never been an occasion where I acted like a jerk off and made that officer think, wow, this is kind of a big dude. He's kind of swole up. He might get angry. Who knows what's going to happen? No. You have to use your head on both sides of the fence. A lot of these people are resisting arrest. And I know what you're going to say. Oh, they're resisting arrest because they think they're going to get shot and killed or they think they're going to get beat up. I get it. But it's got to stop. It's got to stop, okay? The police department has to do their work and change their things, but it is never, ever, ever gonna help if people are constantly giving the police a hard time and they are constantly resisting arrest. It's never gonna help. People need to talk to their kids. Maybe this generation's over. Maybe we gotta start over, okay? Maybe we just gotta start over. It's really, really, really sad. And I can usually make funny comments about anything. I got nothing. I can't watch CNN. I can't watch the news. It's like time after time. It's like, where are they finding these people? Where are they finding them? Remember, you're going to have a very small percentage of police officers in every station in the country that never should have been cops. Never should have been cops. You always need to think that that might be there, but resisting arrest is never going to help. It's never going to help. I don't even know if these body cameras are going to help. Maybe it's making it worse. Because this stuff's been going on for hundreds of years. We all know that. This is not new. It's just getting caught on camera. I realize I'm probably somewhat biased, and the last thing I want to do is piss anybody off, but I got to tell you, right now, during these protests, you got police officers out there, the good ones, that are working 15, 16, 18-hour shifts. They are hungry. They're exhausted. They're getting spit on and yelled at. So why don't you think, how would I do my job under those circumstances? You're not helping. You're not helping. The looting and the burning, what the hell, man? I mean, imagine if I'm a small business owner and I got a store in Minnesota or Atlanta or any of these places and it just gets burnt and I had nothing to do with it and now my business is over. I'm in financial ruins because a bunch of people wanted to cause problems. Are you helping? You're not helping. So let's get real. We need to fix things from both sides. Law enforcement needs to fix things, and everybody else needs to fix things. It doesn't work if all we're doing is protesting and getting worse. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. If I could make a plea to stop all this nonsense that I thought would work, I would try, but I don't think it'll work. But I wanted people to realize this is not good. This is not good. You're not helping anybody. So try to be good to people, man. Doesn't matter what race, what color, what sex. Doesn't matter, man. Just try to be good to people. Treat people like you'd want you to be treated. It's that simple. I'm not a religious guy, but if that's part of your religion, then just throw that in there. Stop being a jerk off, okay? I don't know what's going to happen in the next few weeks. I'm watching people lift up this guy, George Floyd, like he's some kind of hero. He's not a hero. He was a bad guy, okay? Let's be honest. If you had a daughter and she brought home George Floyd and said, hey, this is my new boyfriend, George. He's been arrested 17 times. He's on heroin and crack and cocaine all the time. He steals a lot of stuff. He tries to pass fake 20. Who tries to pass a fake 20s? You can't pass a fake 20. If you know anything about counterfeiting, you got to go small. It's like the 1s, the 5s, the 10s. As soon as they see a 20, 50, or 100, they're going to check it. So that means he's not even a smart criminal. It's almost reminding me of Christopher Columbus being Italian, because I'm embarrassed by all the notoriety that we gave Christopher Columbus, okay? Because first of all, he wasn't a good guy. He did horrible things to people. He got on a boat because he conned his way on there, and then he didn't even discover anything. He didn't discover America because there's freaking people there when he got there. Okay, I mean, if Neil Armstrong went to the moon with a flag and he looked over and he goes, oh my God, there's like hundreds of people already on the moon, nobody would have said he discovered the moon. There was people there already. I'm embarrassed by Christopher Columbus. I didn't even like the holiday with him. There are thousands of people that African Americans could rally around, and you got to stop lifting this guy up like he's some kind of hero. He's not. He had a horrible thing happen to him. It never should have happened. It shouldn't happen to anybody. But trying to make this guy some kind of martyr for your cause, I got to tell you, it's a bad idea, right? There's so many people you could choose that would be better than that. I mean, like I said, if I could get the Italians to get rid of the Columbus thing, I would, but I can't. So listen, everybody, just start treating people the way you want to be treated. I'm out.